The president even called out his opponents by name, saying they're guilty as hell. He lists off former FBI Director James Comey, Democratic Senator Adam Schiff, and New York Attorney General Letitia James. With us now to discuss these developments is Harry Litman. He's a former U.S. attorney and a former Deputy Assistant Attorney General. Harry, great to see you as always. If the DOJ is supposed to be independent of politics, what does a post like this do? What do the comments from Caroline Leavitt do?
Well, they make it clear that there's only one reason that they want to prosecute here, and that's because of the reprisal for the former efforts against Trump. What is missing here? The facts of any federal crime. Indeed, they just dismissed someone on Friday who said, I'm sorry, I can't indict Letitia James because we don't have the facts here. I just want to say, Boris, because we've had a flurry of activity involving DOJ and may all blend together. Speaking as a prosecutor, there is nothing worse, I mean rock bottom, than prosecuting someone without evidence, for starters, and doing it at the political pleasure of the president in order to have reprisal against political enemies. That's just the complete demolition of the DOJ mission of justice without fear or favor. We have that. It is despotism, pure and simple. And even if you look at what Leavitt's saying, it's got nothing to do with crimes. The indictment of someone or investigation without a predicate of facts and law is an absolute scandal. It's viewed that way by everyone within the Department of Justice.
Well, it's notable that they're not actually, at this point that I've heard, talking about prosecuting any of these folks for what they're claiming is the weaponization of DOJ, right? Like Trump has talked about Letitia James and some sort of accusation, some tie to mortgage fraud. I, to this point, have not seen any evidence of that. But it's interesting that they're not actually trying to prosecute them on the grounds that they're claiming, right?
Exactly. Interesting is one word for it. Corrupt is another. There is no federal crime there. Even if you object to what happened, there is no federal crime in having participated in the impeachment, brought cases against Trump. So the idea is we'll make something up. For example, the mortgage fraud, which has been really strongly debunked, and that's why his own nominee for U.S. attorney said there's nothing here, and he was fired. So that you've put your finger exactly on it. They purport to want to prosecute people in the absence of a federal crime. The very first command to any assistant in the principles of federal prosecution, the Constitution command is you may not. It's a Kafkaesque nightmare to bring charges in the absence of evidence, and that it be done at the political behest of the president. We must do this now because why? They impeached and convicted and indicted me is a complete undermining of everything the DOJ stands for. This is really rock bottom, Boris.
A Kafkaesque nightmare. Franz Kafka getting a shout out on CNN News Central. Harry, before we go, I also wonder what this post potentially does to any case that the government might bring, because these folks getting accused could just use it as their defense and say this is political, right? Isn't the president here in some ways stymieing his own efforts to persecute his political adversaries?
Yeah, I mean, it's a great point. You're going to see this Truth Social post show up again and again with claims by any defendant who's on the wrong side of Trump that this is done just for political reasons, and therefore the legal term would be selective prosecution. Typically a very hard claim to make, but here they've just served it up with a ribbon and bow. So on top of everything else, it's a stupid thing to say, but I just want to lead with the point of how wrong and corrupt and against the very DNA of all prosecutors. But yes, this is going to come back to bite them for sure if they indict any of the Trump enemies.
Harry Litman, thanks so much for the analysis. Appreciate it.
Thanks, Boris.